Yeah, so we were trying to decide whether, like, who was the bigger music crush, whether it was Sarah Blasko or Cat Power.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's pretty hard, but Sarah Blasko hasn't made as much of a mess of herself. And also she seems more achievable. Cat Power's a bit more of a music dude.
So is there an aspect of, like, danger and rock starness to Cat Power that makes her more appealing because she's gotten a bit fucked up?
That's definitely part of what makes her attractive.
Yeah.
She's got the rock star sexiness, but Sarah Blasko is she's so beautiful, and she seems more attainable, but yeah, I don't know.
She's kind of more in, like, the Kate Bush, like, art pop archetype or something?
True. Yeah. But, Kate Bush, I don't know. I feel like I'd put her in more of a Cat Power. Maybe just because she's a bit older, and I think of her as being, like, a bit more, like, 90s cool.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Blasko isn't very cool.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. She's not, like, controversial. Like,
There's something a bit daggy about her.
Yeah.
Which is quite endearing.
And it's so endearing.
Yeah.
Oh. And, like, I don't know, when I saw her live a few weeks back, that's when I was like, oh, fuck, she's so endearing.
Does she still, because last couple times I saw her, she hasn't done as much of her robot dancing as she used to do?
No, she did zero robot dancing, to my recollection, last time. But I think that's because she was promoting her latest album, and that's a bit less, like, robot dancey.
Yeah.
She did a lot of Kate Bush hands, like the wavy, like,
okay.
Yeah, like those ones.
Yeah. I've been listening to a bit of Cat Power lately, actually, because I'd never really gone for a good dig in her catalogue, and I'm up to third or fourth. What would the community think? That one?
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of those early ones, they're dense.
They're very dense. She I don't know. It's like you can track her mind listening to all of her albums, like back from You Are Free through to, I don't know if she's put out, she probably has put out an album since then, but I've had The Greatest in my head for a little while, and that's how this conversation about, like, who is better, Cat Power or Sarah Blasko, that's how it came up, because I was like, oh my God, I need to listen to The Greatest because I've had it in my head for a while. But yeah, she goes from songs like You Are Free through to, like, this jazzy, if I had children, they'd be embarrassed that I was listening to this kind of album. Yeah.
Are there any other musicians that, like, you like both of them, but you kind of put them in this dichotomy of who is cooler or better or something?
Oh, I don't know. I have a pretty diverse taste in music.
Like, some people, I guess, put Radiohead and Wilco against each other like that.
Yeah, but I never got into Wilco. I know what you mean with that, but I don't know. I'm a diehard Radiohead fan. It's stupid, and I hate that it's such a cliche that I'm really into Radiohead because it's Radiohead. But I don't know. They were the first band I went interstate to listen to.
Oh wow!
And I think I realised with Tom York, it was the first time I went, that's the power of being a rock star, when someone's not conventionally attractive, but he's, like, super sexy.
I think his hair has gotten so gross in recent years.
Like, he's a feral. He looks like an absolute feral. And he got really obsessed with, like, friggin' Noah and the flood, and then, like, called his kid Noah, and like, he gets all into conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff. Like, he's like stock standard crazy rock star, but I just totally dig it. Like, he's got this sex appeal, I guess, which I find kind of fascinating. What's the other one? Oh, like Trent Reznor, not conventionally attractive, but has major sex appeal. I think what it is people, when they're really good at stuff, people who are really good at what they do are really attractive. And maybe that's why Sarah Blasko, I bet she's also, she's just also, like, hot as.
I think Trent Reznor actually makes he has made some pretty sexy music as well.
He does. Yeah, his music's pretty sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Maegan, how do we know each other?
Well, Scott, we met each other through playing in a band together a number of years ago now. I can't remember exactly when it was. Probably not important. Do you remember?
I think it was 2014.
There we go.
Pretty much just that calendar year.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right, because we probably would have come back from having the Christmas break, as bands tend to do. And, yeah, you stepped in. We gigged together for a couple of years before I
don't think it was even that long.
Really?
I have a feeling it was only like the back half of that year that we gigged.
No. Wow. Okay.
I think so. Because
it's like too grandiose in my mind. It does
seem like a lot longer.
It seems like age. Yeah.
But I think it was because I remember when I saw you first, because I had auditioned to play bass for We All Want To.
Correct.
The first time, and I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. This was in 2013. But Tim Stewart from that band recommended me to Chris Hetherington from the Slow Push.
Yes.
Because he was looking for a new bass player and a new drummer.
Yeah, no, people had stepped out, life was happening, blah, 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 yeah.
And I remember going to see the Slow Push, which must have been one of the last gigs with the previous bass player and drummer.
Yeah,
at Black Bear Lodge.
Yeah. Oh, those are the days.
I think it must have been like a Christmas gig or something. And I met a couple of you guys for the first time. And I have a real clear memory of seeing you and Chris together on stage, because you were both vocalists in the band.
Yes.
And you also played like the sampler thingy.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you and thinking, because you were real wild.
Yeah,
stage.
I got wild on stage.
Like there's a lot of screaming and throwing your hair around. And I remember thinking, I want to be in a band with them. They're real cool.
It was very fun. It was really great. Yeah, no, I loved it.
So yeah, I think we because new drummer especially is you need a lot of.
That's a big deal.
You have to relearn everything pretty much. So yeah, I think we were in the prac room for like 6 months, and then did 6 months of gigs, and then so then you went back to study some more.
I did, yes.
And
story of my life.
And it kind of just drifted apart from there, I think.
Yeah, I went back. I wanted to go back and do some more study. It got to a stage where I went, I can't be a good band member because I'm having to put too much of my time elsewhere, and I didn't want to sort of half-ass being in a band. I didn't feel like that was respectful to everybody and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Was that a really hard decision to make?
It was, and then it got harder because, like, then the whole band fell apart accidentally after I left, and I was like, shit, whoops, sorry everyone, I didn't mean to do that. We'd gotten replacement bass players, we've gotten a replacement drummer.
But you were irreplaceable.
And apparently, no, that's very, very much not true. But yeah, I went, they can just get, because I'd initially taken over someone else's position in the band. So I was hoping that could happen, but maybe it was time that it just sort of went to bed. Maybe that was the time for the band to just be what it had been and leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we hadn't really seen each other since then, before like a week or two ago when we caught up for drinks.
Well, no, we ran into each other.
Oh, we did?
That was like end of last year.
Yes.
We were at a bus stop and I went, oh my God, there's Scott. Hey, Scott, how you doing? And then I had to get on a bus or something like that.
Yeah.
And we just had this awkward exchange.
I had all my Christmas shopping with me.
That's correct. Yep. And then, we got in contact and said, let's catch up for a drink. And then here we are.
Now, we're doing something special on this episode because, we met up to discuss you coming on the podcast. And I sent through the list of topics that I send through often to guests for suggestions of things we can talk about aspects of life. And you said, like, you'd be happy to talk about any of these things.
Correct.
So to narrow it down, it's quite, I'm really excited to do this, actually. So you narrowed it down to 8 topics.
Yes.
And I've written them on slips of paper. And what we're going to do is put them in a hat, and you're going to draw from the hat.
Yes.
And we're going to pick at random from these. So we're almost certainly not going to get through all 8. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. 10 seemed like a conventional number, but no, there was 8 that stood out to me that I felt like I could easily enough talk about, and so I'm really excited.
All right, I'm gonna get in the hat.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
First topic.
Okay, here it is. Medical conditions.
Ooh. Now we're in our early 30s, May. It's the time when we all start to fall apart a little bit.
Yes.
Have you got any bits falling off anywhere? Things creaking?
I have found since I turned 30, when something goes wrong, it doesn't ever get completely better, and that's doing my head in. That's something I've really noticed. I did gymnastics a lot when I was younger, and so I sustained some injuries and things. And I've noticed now when I exacerbate those things, they never go back to square one. My ankles in particular. I went for a run about a week ago after not running for a little while. And for like the next 3 days, my ankles were just, they were sore. They were sore the entire time. I've completely buggered my ankles on numerous occasions. And it sort of dawned on me, maybe I can't be doing running anymore. It's so sad.
I find that, I have a lot of friends who have old sports injuries that are starting to get really bad, especially people who play like basketball or footy or stuff when they were, if they kept playing after high school, I think, like once all your bones have settled in the right place, if you keep doing that, then you keep running into things, I think that's when you get problems.
Maybe about 4 years ago, I rolled my ankle at the gym doing just some sort of, whatever gym classes you do, the jumpy around, move your arms and legs to music classes. And I rolled my ankle and went, oh shit, that's sore. Continued to ignore it like I used to. Long story short, 6 weeks later, found out that I had actually partially torn my Achilles and snapped a tendon, and I'd been ignoring it the whole time, wondering why my ankle was swelling up. Ended up in a moon boot, and now my right ankle is basically a write-off. It's stupid, yeah.
Do you like to keep physically active?
I do. It's really good for my mental health to stay physically active. It's funny, like I previously kind of abused it in terms of the topic of medical conditions. I used to over-exercise a lot, and it's been a really nice journey to reclaim that and that to become a positive thing rather than a thing I abuse.
Do you look forward to exercising?
I look forward to being finished exercising.
I'm just wondering like how someone gets the motivation to over-exercise, because I guess so many people have the problem of under-exercising because it's so difficult to motivate yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I had a really bad eating disorder for a long time, and for me it was just about weight, I guess. And so I took a break after I resolved those things. Well, was in the process of resolving them, I suppose. I got treatment and it took a very long time, but sort of laid all that to rest, and then learnt to re-enjoy exercising again.
Oh, so that's what you mean by reclaiming it. So it's no longer part of a problem.
Exactly. Yeah, it's of benefit to me as opposed to it being of detriment. Yeah.
So you like running. What else do you like to do?
I enjoy going to the gym. It's so wanky. But I enjoy doing classes like the high intensity classes where I get to kind of like just smash it out and get all my bad feelings out. I enjoy the like yoga and Pilates. I enjoy being flexible and sort of challenging my body and feeling in touch with my body.
Do you go to the gym with anyone?
No, it's just me. I don't enjoy doing it with a friend because it's my time. It's me. Yeah.
Do you listen to music while you're at the gym?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Do you have a special playlist that's for the gym, or you just listen to whatever?
I enjoy listening to girl talk at the gym a lot. because it's got a really good beat and it's really fun and I love it. And probably like some early 90s punk kind of music is, I don't have a specific playlist, but I have a few different bands that I go to. Like I love listening to the Pixies at the gym. A few Beyonce songs are like bloody killer.
Yeah, but it's just got to have that constant beat to it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need that. You can't lose that, because then I'll lose motivation and I'll be like, and then I'll just, if I'm out for a run, I find myself just wanting to have like a sit down and ponder. I don't know. I'm kind of innately pensive, so it's very easy for me to go there.
So is there anything else that your ankles have stopped you doing lately?
I find it difficult. I work as a nurse and I do 12.5-hour shifts, and sometimes at the end of a really long shift, like I can easily do 20,000 steps on a shift, according to the phone in my pocket. And it, like sometimes at the end of a day, it just, like my ankles will ache and it's a massive pain in the ass.
Do you think, is it going to ever become like a serious problem with your job?
I hope it doesn't affect my job. It's probably going to change, well, it already is changing the way I exercise, but...
In nursing, like can you, I don't know, become a registrar and sit behind a desk all day? Is that what?
Oh yeah, but that sounds horrible. I mean, I could get a job where I, work Monday to Friday, very civilized hours, but that's just so unappealing and it's not exciting and it's not what I love about nursing. So I can't foresee myself doing that. There might be a time in my life where that's necessary or that becomes appealing, but I love being busy, being on my feet, being challenged, everything about all those facets of my work are what makes it really appealing and satisfying, and yeah.
So you do work some pretty wild hours as a nurse.
Yeah.
Like what is a regular week like?
Oh, there's no regular week. I do, 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts. I do days, like start at 7 a.m., go through to 7:30 p.m. I start at lunchtime and finish at midnight. Start in the afternoon, finish at just before midnight. Some nights I start at 6 p.m. and finish at 2:30 in the morning. There's no regular thing, and there can be any combination of any of those shifts every single week. So I've got no body clock. Plus the night duties. So yeah, starting at 7 o'clock at night, finish at 7:30 in the morning.
How do you sleep?
With difficulty and sometimes with the help of a glass of wine. I don't know, you're pretty buggered all the time, so you just rely on your body needing to sleep, I guess.
Do you find it easy to fall asleep?
Yeah. Most of the time it's not too hard to fall asleep. Sometimes staying asleep is the problem. So you might wake up 3 hours into your sleep, you need to have a wee, you're really thirsty, so you get up, do a wee, have a glass of water, and then your brain switches on and you're like, no, off, please go to sleep. And I need more sleep. I need to go back to work in a few hours. So yeah, that's what I personally find difficult. There are a lot of people who go home, have a shower, climb into bed, sleep a solid 8 hours, get up, and they're ready to go. Part of it's personality, part of it's your mental makeup, I think. Yeah, there's a few different things that contribute, but I'm kind of hit and miss. Is
there anything you do in like preparation you do in your bedroom to help you stay asleep, like blackout curtains? Or?
Well, in my old place, I used to have blackout curtains, but the place I'm living in now is I'm sleeping better than I've ever slept before. We refer to it as a bat cave because it's kind of just like this cold concrete box, which sounds super unappealing, but is wonderful for day sleeping. The bedroom itself is kind of cold. There's just like a lot of exposed bricks in the four walls. The room itself is naturally dark. I've got a big sliding door, like barn door, which I slide across and creates nice insulation. I normally come home, have a shower, make myself a piece of toast, climb into bed, eat the toast in bed. Put on an eye mask and try and go to sleep. Yeah.
And it's not noisy?
There's a few noises because it backs onto the apartment blocks. Well, it's an apartment, but the noise kind of echoes around. So sometimes you can hear kids running around in upstairs apartments or taps going and things like that, but it's not particularly noisy. It's pretty good.
It's weird, like the ambient noises that you find irritating and some you find comforting.
Yeah.
Like I like the sound of water running through pipes and stuff. Can't stand people talking. And the quieter it is, the more sensitive I am to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is quite a quiet street. So if someone's, 50 metres down the road talking and they're echoing off a brick apartment building, that'll just piss me off if I'm trying to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah, I find that too. Like, sometimes if someone walks outside their apartment upstairs or downstairs from me and I can hear it echoing around and they're talking on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that shits me to tears. Can't stand that. But if there's just like some kids running around having a giggle, or I can hear the water running from someone's tap, or someone watering some plants with a hose, those are all quite comforting noises.
The train is a really nice distance from here.
Yes.
Like, it's just far enough away to be really nice at night. I don't think I'd want to live right next to a train track.
No. Well, I must admit, my last place was about a similar distance from the same train track just down the road, and it's like methodical kind of noise.
Yeah.
And it's almost melodic. Like it's nice. Yeah,
Rhythmic.
Background. Yeah.
I even like. I don't mind appliances, even like washing machines, air conditioners.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's fun. That reminds me, my some friends of mine, when they've got 3 kids now, but when they had their first child, she just wouldn't sleep. Like, could not get her to sleep at all. She was a bit of an irritable little baby. But they found that when they vacuumed, she would fall asleep. So they had to download this noise, and this was about 10 years ago, but they had to download the noise of a vacuum cleaner and would just play it in her room, and she would fall asleep. And these days, actually, because I'm a children's nurse, I find a lot of parents have white noise on their iPads or phones, and they pop it in the cot with the baby because then the baby falls asleep.
That's like one of the best things about YouTube is ASMR videos and stuff that you can find any ambient noise to listen to and it'll be there. Actually, fans are one of the best for me.
Oh, nice.
Like, when I was younger, I used to keep the fan on even in winter and just point it away from my bed because I actually couldn't get to sleep without it sometimes.
Yeah.
I could do without it now, but it's also helpful if there's like a party across the street and you put it right up next to you and it actually drowns it out.
Nice.
And I like the sound of that.
Yeah. When I've had trouble sleeping, I have YouTubed different white noises and just popped it in there, popped my earphones in and listened to it. It helps me go to sleep. It's great.
Shall we go to another topic?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh,
Next
what am I going
topic
to get?
is
Childhood.
I don't know anything about your childhood, mate, except I guess you're an only child.
Yeah, I have mentioned that.
Did you grow up in Brisbane?
I've primarily lived in Brisbane. I was actually born in Hobart in Tassie.
Ah.
Yeah. So I was born there, and then we moved. It was myself and my mum and my dad. We moved to Adelaide. That's where my mum and all of her family are from. We lived in a couple of different houses there. I lived in my nana's house for a little while as well, and then we moved to Melbourne. Lived in a couple of houses in Melbourne. I started school there and did some primary school there, and during primary school I moved up to Brisbane. And I've been here ever since, aside from a few stints overseas and bits and pieces, but I've been primarily in Brizzy.
Do you remember all these places?
Everywhere except for Tassie. I was a bit small. I was under 1, so I don't really remember it. Although when I was 18, I went back with my parents and they took me back to the house that I was born in. And we did that awkward thing where they knocked on the door and said, "Hi, we're here with our daughter. Can we have a walk around and can we show her first house?" And the lady was actually really lovely, very obliging. and we walked around and I saw the house that I've seen in family videos. So that was kind of cute. But yeah, I remember all the other places.
One time, my mum and I were just walking past our old house. It was like my favourite house growing up. We didn't bother knocking on the door. We just kind of like went down the side of the house and took a sticky beak around. I don't think there was anyone home, but because we still felt so entitled that was our house.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I would feel that way now, I guess. Some of the houses that I have lived in, I would feel like there's still a kind of innate sense of ownership because you've lived there and that's been your memories and it's been such a special place to you.
And is it so weird that like multiple people will feel that way about the same place?
That's a really good point. I've never really thought about that.
Like sometimes I get little hints about the people who lived here in this flat before me. Mm. I put together so far, I think it was an old couple who were quite devout Christians, and I think the husband died, and that's why the wife moved. I think this is just piecing it together from the mail that they never had redirected.
Sure.
Because like some of it is to a Mr. and Mrs., but then a lot of it is just to a Mrs.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes...
You're such a detective.
The funniest thing though is sometimes they get this mail that they've clearly subscribed to by this Christian group, and it's got catalogues of books. It's like an evil Kurong. You know,
yes.
Kurong, the Christian bookshop?
Yes.
Used to go there when I was little. But it's all for books that are entirely about how Islam is the devil and how we must prepare to fight the unbelievers.
Oh, that's not kind.
It's all really hardcore stuff.
Wow, that's full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminded me, a few houses ago, is that how you describe it?
Yeah.
A few houses ago, I lived in this place where someone was definitely a really keen bird watcher and they hadn't redirected their mail. And so after we moved in, we were just getting a lot of bird magazines and a lot of bird watching magazines, and they'd subscribed to about like 4 or 5 different ones, and like a couple of times a week you would get these like updates and things, and it was all just about like just bird watching. So I feel a bit bad for them because they obviously were very into it and never got around to redirecting that mail.
Yeah.
I did a lot of return to senders, but how long do you return to sender after you've moved into a place?
Yeah, well, in my last place, I used to scribble not at this address and just dump it back in the letterbox. Mm-hmm. I don't actually know what that would accomplish, if Australia Post would take it back or whatever. But here I used to keep it all, and then when there'd be a house inspection, I'd put it on the kitchen counter and say, previous residence mail, but they never pick it up. So
No, I do. I do a lot of like return to sender, not at this address, pop it back in the post box and hope for the best. But yeah, for how long you do that? I lived in a house for 5 years and we still were getting stuff from the previous owners, and I don't know, like you just presume it's obviously not that important. But
I admit I have given up on that since the last time when the real estate people didn't, if they even came to inspect. I don't know. Who can tell if they even come?
No. I got a surprise house inspection last week.
They're not allowed to.
No, it was a surprise to me.
Oh, okay.
I'd forgotten that there was a house inspection. My housemate, he's a tradie, so he gets up and gets going at early hours. And I'd gotten home after he had left from a night duty, so it was about 7:45 in the morning. Came home, had a shower, climbed into bed. I sleep with no clothes on. And so I was naked in my bed, just starting to fall asleep, and I hear this bang, bang, bang on the door. And I was like, shit, okay, that sounds like a very aggressive bang. Hang on, how is someone, because I have a gate, and someone had come through a locked gate and was banging on my door. And so that was obviously very alarming to me. So because I'm not particularly sensible, I suppose, I just wrapped the doona around me and wandered up to the front door and opened it up. And they're like, oh, we're here for the house inspection. And I'm clearly looking extremely disheveled. I haven't slept in 36 hours. I'm naked with a doona wrapped around me, and I had no choice but to say, yeah, sorry, I forgot. I'm a shift worker, but come on in. So I conducted a house inspection naked, just wrapped in a doona with this sort of 18-year-old girl. You know the people who do house inspections, they're just sort of like the minions of the real estate agent.
The junior ones at the real estate office, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so this poor young lady, and I was going, I didn't even realise. Thankfully, my housemate's particularly clean and he keeps me in line, so the house didn't look that bad. But I was just so anxious the whole time because I was naked with a doona wrapped around me. And I let the lady have a look around the house and she took her photos and videos and whatever they do now and said, all's good, thanks for your time. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. And she left and I took the biggest sigh of relief and it was very anxiety provoking. I did not go to sleep easily that time. Needed some of that white noise.
So while she was there, what did you do? Did you just stand there in the doona?
Yeah, I stood there in the doona. I didn't want to sit down in case the doona flopped open inappropriately. So I just kind of stood in the middle of the house and waited it out. I don't want to know what my face was doing. My face is like a storybook. It's very obvious.
I sometimes wonder what they actually do on inspection because I've never been home for one. How long do they take?
Well, I'm pretty sure she could tell I was awkward, so this was a very speedy inspection. They wandered around from, I've been renting properties for, 13, 14 years now. But these days they take out their phone and make little videos to just prove what your house looks like and that you're not making it like a fucking bomb site, I guess. I don't know. Just document each room and then thank you for your time and leave.
Anyway, your childhood.
Yeah.
What kind of kid were you?
Oh, I was a different kid depending on my age. I changed a lot, I think. I never liked being away from my mum when I was little, so I would always try and do things like go on school camps and stuff. But then I would always get really homesick.
Did you have lots of friends? So let's start with primary school.
Okay. No, I've always been someone who just has kind of like a small core group of friends. I was never in like the cool group with, a bazillion people. I found always a few people who I latched onto and connected with, and I've always felt more comfortable with just a small group of core friends. There's certain people who I've known through primary school, high school, who I'm still in touch with. I kind of kept my core group of friends throughout primary school. A lot of us went into high school together, and then I kind of found my little clique in high school, and we just all stayed friends as well.
What friend archetype were you within the group?
Oh, that's interesting. Do I have this much personal insight? I'm not sure. I have no idea. That's really hard. I don't know. Give me something to riff off.
Okay, were you the one that got the rest in trouble? Were you the sensible one? Were you the quiet one? Were you the leader?
I probably was the one who got the most in trouble. Yeah, I was the one who got the most in trouble. Smoking behind the bike shed. Tried to sort of challenge authority. I was a bit naughty, not particularly naughty, but I was still naughty, and I was still the stoner, and
Would you say you still have an anti-authoritarian streak?
Definitely, yeah. I think that there's a big sort of through line there in terms of wanting to prove myself, and not needing authority rather than, feeling like I don't need authority rather than not respecting the authority that's there.
Like you can win on your own terms. You don't have to follow the rules?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you good at schoolwork?
Yeah, I was. I did well at school. I enjoy learning. I was academically quite sound. I did pretty good. If I try and do well academically, I still do. It's just in terms of having the drive to apply myself, I guess.
Right. And having the genuine interest in something. And
and
not being something you've been forced to.
Yeah. So the stuff the nice thing about high school, I guess, when I got to, when you get to choose your subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to choose my subjects, and I chose primarily creative subjects, and I did very well. And I suppose that's been the same thing since when I started nursing. I found something that I was really passionate about, and so I quite easily did well in my studies because it was something that really interested me, and I felt I could see proper application to what I was learning, and so there was a definitive outcome.
What did you want to be when you were at school?
When I was little, I always said to everyone I was going to be an ENT doctor, like an ear, nose and throat doctor. I was going to be an ENT for deaf children.
That's very specific.
It's very specific, yeah. That coming out of a 4-year-old's mouth is a bit astounding, apparently. I ran with that from the moment I thought about what I wanted to be up until I realised how hard it would be to actually be a doctor. Maybe that's why I became a nurse. But, yeah, that's what I specifically wanted to do.
Do you remember why?
I've always loved sign language a lot, and I probably read something or watched something about an ENT. I don't know. I don't know if there was any, it was probably just a thing that got thrown into my head and I just really ran with it. But yeah, I always wanted to work with deaf kids.
It's funny, like you can normally point to the one thing, like when I was little, I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Sure.
And that's because Jurassic Park came out when I was 6. So
yeah.
Pretty clear.
Yeah.
Pretty clear line there.
Yeah. Oh, I would have been from Twister. What was that? Like the Storm Chasers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I got a bit older and Twister came out, that was definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to chase tornadoes.
So when did you figure out that nursing was what you wanted to do?
Oh, it was after school. It was after I left. It was funny, like I applied for nursing straight out of school just because I applied for other creative things and my dad was probably giving me shit about not having a real career, so I applied for something kind of realistic. I didn't even finish the first year of it and went overseas. Then I came back and did a creative degree. And then I realised that I actually really loved the idea of nursing. I kept going back. I was working as a personal care worker in aged care, and it was the most fulfilling, wonderful job I'd ever done. And went, okay, maybe I could actually be a nurse. So I went back and finished it sort of as a mature age student and found my niche when I started working in kids.
So the job you have now as a nurse, is that would you do that forever?
I hope so. I love it. The last few shifts I've worked have been horrendous, but I don't know why, but I still absolutely love it and I keep going back to it. I love the people I work with. I have an amazing work family. Everyone's very passionate about what they do. We all work hard, like extremely hard. We work hard, we party hard, but we love each other, and it's a wonderful community to be a part of. I'm really proud to be part of the public health sector, where we get to provide like the best healthcare that people can receive, and we provide it for free. And there's no discrimination, and people get what they need when they need it. And it's something I'm really proud to be a part of it. Yeah, it's very satisfying.
It's a rare job, I think, that is actually ideologically satisfying.
Yeah.
Like you actually get to do something you wholeheartedly believe in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that's a really big privilege.
So within the profession, though, like, is there any hierarchy you would ever hope to move up?
I mean, the nice thing, I work in the emergency department, and so you start off just doing the stock standard basic nursing within the department. You gain extra skills and qualifications in terms of where you work. So you can sort of start to team lead different areas. You can work in a resus. Even within a resus, there's different roles that you can develop, and I'm just naturally kind of moving up as I get my skills and get signed off stuff. So I'm moving up that kind of innate hierarchy that exists within the department. I wouldn't want to go into at this time, I wouldn't want to go into management and things because the higher you get up, the less clinical you get, and it becomes more it becomes more of like an office thing or a management thing, and you stop doing stock standard, like you stop nursing per se, and that's the thing that I like doing. So I don't know, there might be a time where that becomes more appealing, but for now I'm like, nah, get me, elbows deep into like the nitty gritty.
So what does that top position of the hierarchy you're currently in look like in the resus?
In the resus, so you manage a child's airway. You can be the team leader of the resus and take that role, but clinically it's, you manage a child's airway. So it's like in terms of nursing or any sort of medical thing, it's your ABCs, it's your airway, breathing, circulation, and airway is your numero uno. So if you're managing someone's airway, that's pretty critical. If you're not breathing, if you don't have a patent airway, you're not living. So
this is probably a silly question for a pediatrics nurse, but do you like kids?
Oh, sometimes. I do like kids. Some of my best friends, their daughter turned 1 today, and I was looking on Facebook this morning and looking at the little photo stream they've taken and that they posted for over the last year that she's been alive. Happy birthday, Olive. I love you. Happy first birthday. And I was looking at it. I was watching this video sitting at the kitchen table, and my housemate came out and he's like, "Are you all right?" Because I was crying. I was crying looking at it because it's just beautiful. They're so innocent and wonderful. And the nice thing about working with children is that they just want to get on with it. Like there's no bullshit, They don't fuck around. Adults whinge for the sake of whinging. Like they fake stuff. Like kids.
Don't kids do that too?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they just want to go and play. Even if they're being demanding for a particular reason, like they're just their needs and their wants are so fundamental, and they're so forgiving as well. You do something mean to a kid, and 5 minutes later, for the most part, they've gotten over it. And if you walk over and you give them some stickers at an ice block, you've made their day. Like it's wonderful. It's so rewarding. It's easy in some ways. For all the challenges that working with kids brings, it's also just as easily rewarding. So,
in the last week, what has a kid said that's made you laugh?
I remember there was a young girl who I think was trying to give me a compliment, but we were talking about wrinkles, and she said, "Oh, my mum has no wrinkles because she's fat and all the fat pushes her wrinkles out of her face." She's like, "But so that means that you're probably going to have lots of wrinkles." So I think she was trying to tell me that I wasn't fat, but she just told me that I was going to be really wrinkly.
That's such a roundabout way of saying that.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, thanks.
Do you want to go one more topic?
All right, we'll go one more topic.
All right, last topic.
Haven't been very good at sticking to the topics. Sleep. Oh, that's a wonderful topic.
We've kind of talked a bit about sleep.
We have talked about sleep.
Did you have any other thoughts on sleep?
I find dreams really interesting.
Oh, yeah. We can talk about dreams.
Yeah.
Do you dream often?
I'm a big dreamer.
Or I guess they say that everyone always dreams. It's just whether you remember it or not.
Yeah.
Do you often remember your dreams?
I do often remember my dreams. I dream a lot about baby animals.
Really?
Yeah. It's like my brain gets really infantile, I think. I dream a lot about baby animals, about like puppies and kittens. A couple of nights ago, I woke up and a couple of mornings ago, I suppose, I woke up and I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, "Oh, I was dreaming about ducklings." Just really nice, comforting, lovely things. And they're always soft and squishy and cuddly. And it's just, I think it's my way of comforting myself. So I dream a lot about baby animals. And I also dream a lot about work. I sleep talk. I'm an insane sleep talker. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it when I'm sleeping.
Wow.
It has to be pretty simple, but a lot of the time if you ask me, say, "Oh, what are you dreaming about?" I'll go, "Oh, just the babies. I'm just working." And then I'll say something, and I'm doing something with an IV, or I'm in the resus, or I'm doing this and that, and I'm always working in my sleep.
Are the work parts of your dreams stressful?
No, it's just sort of mundane, like just activities. I'm just participating in work activities. It's a bit boring.
What's happening in the baby animal dreams? Like, are you yourself or are you a baby animal?
Oh, I'm myself, and I'm just enjoying having baby animals with me.
Oh, you're just like playing with them.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I just get to like cuddle them. This is really frequent. This is most nights I get to have baby animals in my dreams.
Wow.
It's lovely.
Do you often actually get to go and play with baby animals in the real world?
No, maybe that's why I dream about it. They're like lust dreams. They're really innocent, lustful dreams.
Maybe you go to like a petting zoo one day and...
Oh, that's my dream. Literally, apparently.
But I wonder if maybe after you realise your dream, would they stop?
Oh, I hope not. For my 30th birthday, I went to Mullaney Dairies and I got to feed the calves. And I remember like it was sucking on my fingers because it thought it was a bottle, and it's so beautiful. And so, no, there we go. 2 years ago, I got to play with some baby animals, and I'm still dreaming about it. So I hope I never stop because it's wonderful. I love it.
Do you ever have stressful dreams or nightmares?
Yeah, I do. I was having some stress dreams last night, but I think it's because I just ate a lot of wine and cheese.
What are your stress dreams about?
Oh, family things and past traumatic events. And
Do you relive things in your dreams?
yeah. I had particular reoccurring dreams when I was little, reoccurring stressful dreams, like night terrors and stuff. A lot of them were to do with like not being able to save my family and going through like this big electrocution like tunnel. And that I had that dream for like years. Probably for like, I reckon 10 years I had this particular reoccurring bad nightmare, yeah.
I once had a dream that my mum died, and it was a really, really sad dream. But in the dream was that Aerosmith song from Armageddon.
Yeah.
So it's like the cheesiest song in the world, you know, do I close my eyes? But now whenever I hear it, I get legitimately sad.
Yeah, oh.
But
I mean...
I've never seen Armageddon. Like, I know they all die or whatever, but... Yeah,
there was that scene with that song playing and Liv Tyler's, like, standing there and she's all teary and crying. I mean, it played a sad role in the movie, so you were spot on.
That was a long time ago, but it's like one you remember. I don't often have sad dreams. I have stress dreams, though. I had a stress dream last night. It was really weird that Robert Forster was reforming the Go-Betweens without Grant.
This is such a Scott dream.
And that for some reason I had to play bass for this one gig.
That sounds stressful.
And that I was supposed to be meeting at this real fancy studio, and I hadn't practiced any of the parts because I'd just been called up. I actually felt kind of confident because I thought the parts would be pretty simple. But then also, I was also scheduled to have a Wheel 1-2 practice straight after the new Go-Betweens one. And like all the Wheel 1-2 people were there like hanging around, but only one of the other people in the new Go-Betweens was there. And it was like, oh, are we going to get started in time, or are we going to like overrun, and are we going to
you're feeling some part of you is feeling unprepared, Scott.
Oh, I always am with music. I'm always behind and needing to come up with things that I haven't, and settling for crappy parts.
I have a lot of my stress dreams involve my teeth falling out. It's quite a cliche. Like, I've done a lot of reading about it because I do, for my whole life, I've had reoccurring my teeth falling out dreams. And I was just thinking, a lot of my dreams occur back in my parents' old house where I grew up. And my cat, who passed away just after I moved out of home when I was 17, my little, like, my childhood pet is always back in that house, and I'm always back in that house. So it like kind of reverts me back to this really important growing up time. there's a lot to be read into all of that, I'm sure. But
Do you believe that dreams have significance?
oh, definitely. Yeah, no, they're just it's mind processing things for sure.
I guess they're clearly drawn from things and stresses you have had in life, but do you think like they have lessons for the future that are meant to be interpreted?
Definitely. And I also believe that there's potential for prophecy in dreams as well. But I don't know. I've known people who have seen stuff happen before it happens, and I can't explain any of it. But I don't know. I'm spiritual enough to think that there's definitely sort of, I don't know, maybe when you're asleep and you've it gives you permission to start to process and think about things and receive things that you otherwise wouldn't do when you're awake.
Have you ever had a prophetic dream?
I dreamed about a place that I'd never been to, and then a couple of years later I went to it. I saw there was a place in my dream that I had never seen, I'd never been to, and then a couple of years later I went to this place and went, oh my God, and suddenly remembered that I had been there in my dream. I don't know how legitimate it all is, but it's nice to, I don't write anything off. Yeah.
Have you ever had a lucid dream?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's freaky.
Yeah?
Yeah, fully freaky. I had one in Indonesia, like those out-of-body dreams. Is that what you're talking about?
A dream where you realize you're in a dream but you don't wake up and you have full control of what you can do.
Yes. Oh, my God, yeah. I went through a period of having a lot of those when I was traveling for a while there, yeah. It's cool, but it's also a bit scary.
I'm not sure if it was a lucid dream, but I've had maybe 2 or 3 dreams in my whole life where I could fly. But that the feeling was amazing, and I don't often feel things in dreams, like I see and hear things, but the feeling was just how you would imagine if you could, which sounds silly because I don't know that feeling because I can't fly.
Yeah, no, but I know, I've had the same sort of flying feeling in my dreams. One where someone was, when you get a little kid and you sort of throw them up into the air and then you catch them and they go 20 centimeters. It's like, whee! But I've had ones where someone threw me up into the air and I went 200 meters up into the sky, and it was all kind of in slow motion. And you have that visceral feeling of maybe this is what it would actually feel like if I was doing it. Yeah.
I think I had wings in one of them. So
that's cool.
I had the whole bird feeling of actually feeling the winds beneath my wings. So it wasn't just levitating like Superman and going wherever. It was actually flapping and soaring and stuff like that.
That's so cool. That's beautiful.
That one though may have come around because of reading Animorphs books when I was little.
Sure.
And all the Tobias ones were about him flying around as a hawk, and it was very descriptive in how he used the thermals and everything.
Yeah. Animorphs was great.
I didn't actually read all of them in the end. I got to about 30 and then just stopped and then read the last 2 or 3, I think. Did you ever read the end?
No, I don't. I never read the end. I'm bad at finishing series, finishing books. Even when I'm really enjoying them, I'm bad at finishing.
Animorphs ended really dark.
Oh, did it? Oh, I don't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't.
No.
What's the last thing you failed to finish?
I watched all of The West Wing and then started watching the final episode and never finished the last episode. I don't know why.
It's one episode.
I watched the whole thing and then never finished the last episode of The West Wing. That's really... Oh, it's bad.
You should go home and watch it.
I know I should, but now it feels like a thing.
If I remember though, The West Wing, the very last episode was pretty much an epilogue. The second last was when that election happened, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, you know what happened.
I do know what happened, but even books that I really enjoy, I don't know what it is. Yeah, so this is why I can never work in ICU, because I'm not detail oriented.
I think I'm the opposite. I stick with things way too long, even though I should give up on them. I just finished a book, Sherlock versus Cthulhu, The Adventure of the Deadly Dimensions, which is a Sherlock Holmes and Cthulhu mythos mashup. It was garbage, and it was about 400 pages long. And I read it to the very end.
You. That's right. We need people like you that just stick with it regardless.
Oh.
Like that's an important attribute, and like I admire that because even when I'm doing something well or enjoying it, I don't necessarily even finish it. Like I do sometimes. Like I don't just have like a bunch of non-read books and TV series, blah blah blah. But no, it takes all sorts. No, it does. It takes all sorts.
Well, thank you for talking to me this evening, May.
Yeah,
it was,
no worries.
Lovely to catch up, and you should go home and eat dinner and watch The West Wing.
Yes, I should go home and watch the final episode of The West Wing. My tummy's grumbling. But yeah, no, thank you. It's been really nice to see you again, Scott.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Hey there, it's Scott. Hope you enjoyed episode 34 with Maegan McKewen. If you want to hear some of the music from the band we are in together, The Slow Push, there are 2 albums online at Bandcamp. I didn't play on either of them. I joined the band pretty late, but Maegan is on there. Got a few little corrections to make in Corrections Corner. I said the year I was in The Slow Push was 2014. I checked, it was actually 2013. So aren't you glad you know that? And I looked up what you're supposed to do with your mail, and according to the post office ombudsman thingo, you are supposed to write, return to sender unknown at this address on any mail that is addressed to a person who is not you, but is at your address, and then you put it back in the post box. Apparently there's no way of just flat out telling Australia Post that to redirect all mail for someone who's not there anymore. So that's a bummer. Or you could just buy a shredder if it's just wine catalogues. I didn't do an intro to the podcast this week. I thought, see how that went. How do you think it went? Let me know. GimmeEmpathyPodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook or Instagram if you want. I just kind of felt like Maegan and I pretty much covered all the background info eventually in the podcast. Let me know if you enjoyed that or not. I sometimes don't quite know what to say in the intros. But thanks for listening. Until next time, stay trippy.